Hello, Guitar Geek here. I'm going to do an analysis of the song Yesterday by Paul McCartney. He did it in the 1960s when he was 18 years old. Very impressed by that fact. The words were very deep for an 18-year-old kid. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away, but now I know they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Just a little bit of his lyrics were amazing. All the and then he had the Kemple chord progression. Which is fairly easy to play that in key of G, and I'll explain that in detail, the chords and the harmony, and then once I get into the melody, I'll explain the synchronization of how the melody synchronizes with the chords, which I will call it the melodic synchronization, and I'll get into that later. But first, notice that if he plays it in this key, it's really easy on the guitar, but it's not that great on the voice because it just sounds bright. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. So what he did was he tuned his guitar down a step, so everything that sounded like G was played here. Da, mm-hmm. Da, da, da. But it's a lot harder to play in the key of F, so he just tuned it down. I'll show you on this guitar. It's already tuned down a step. Like here's your E, here's your D, here's a D. So I tuned this one down to. So when I play a G, it sounds like an F chord. Da, da, da. So anyway, but for right now, I'm not going to mess with the F tuning, or the F, technically the D tuning. I'm going to do it in this key so that you can play along with it in standard tuning. Just remember that the song was recorded a step lower. It's a little bit easier on your voice, and it sounds a little more somber there. It's just too bright. Instead of da da da, it's instead of da da da, he goes da da da. Just a little bit more somber in that key. It's a subtle thing, but that's a sign of how brilliant Paul was even at 18. He just had it. He had that musical it. And anyway, it's my opinion on that. But so I'm going to show you the harmony, then the melody, and then how they go together. So let me go on to the harmony. So getting back to the retuned guitar, I'm not going to retune the guitar for this lesson. I'm going to keep it in the G so you can play along with it on standard tuning. So he's playing harmonic rhythm is basically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and change and change. 2 chords per measure. And the first chord is G. What I'm doing is playing thumb and the bass in 3 chords. This is G, bass note. I remember, of course, in this recording this would have sounded like an F. And then he plays these 3 strings open, D, G, B, which spells a G major chord. Now, this is something that most people would already know, or a lot of people already know, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to do a thorough analysis, so I'm going to go into some super detail that it's going to be boring for those of you who know a lot of this stuff. But anyway, there it is. This is for advanced and beginners, so it's kind of going to be too much information for some, and for others it's going to be move too quick. So I'm going to try and do a compromise in between. Move a little quick, but without. I'm going to move pretty slow actually on this one. So how does that become a G major chord? How do you spell G major? You use the 1-3-5 formula to spell any major chord and minor chord. But for major, you do the root, the third, and the fifth of the major scale. And for the minor chord, you do for the minor scale, basically. And there's other ways to do this. There's Dorian, and there's Mixolydian for major and Lydian for major. But the 1-3-5 is how you play the major triad. Triad means 3 notes. A dyad is 2 notes. So the triad is spelled with the 1-3-5 of the major chord. So let's go to the G major chord, G major scale. G is 1. What's the next letter in the musical alphabet? It's A. A is 2. B is 3. Oh, there's the 3. So, and the 4 is C, and the 5 is D. So G is 1. G is 1. G, A, B. B is 3. C, D is 5. So G, B, and D. So this is a G. This is a G. A little bit out of tune. I don't care right now. This is a B. There's the 3. And there's the 5. But I can do the 5 on this string. So I get. So I'm playing a G major chord. And then, interestingly, what Paul does, he does a very clever little move. He goes from the key of G major on the first measure, and then he goes to the. He's played 2 chords that aren't in the key of G. This is F sharp minor, and this is B7, and the E minor. So what he's done there is he's actually gone to the key of E minor, which is the relative minor to G major. So he's in G major, playing the 1 chord. And then he goes, plays an F minor 7, I'm sorry, F sharp minor 7, to a B7. And the B7 is a 5 to the E minor. So let's do, what is 5 above E minor? Should be B. E, F sharp, G, A, B. B is 5. So it's going 5 to 1. So if E is 1, F sharp is 2. So it's going a 2, 5, 1. And 2-5-1 is super important. And it's used all the time in jazz. It's like a circle of fifths thing. That's another lesson. 2-5-1s everywhere. So you got like. Anyway, 2-5-1. Interestingly enough, he's in key of G, then he goes right to the key of E minor, 2 to 1. Now, what's also interesting about this, if you think of this as the G bass, the G and the G chord, this is a G chord, this is an A chord, and if he plays the F sharp, he plays the an A major chord above the F sharp, which makes it an F sharp minor 7. Reason why is because if you take the 1-3-5-7 of the F sharp minor scale, you'll get these notes. F sharp is 1, G sharp is 2, 3 is A, 4 is B, 5 is C sharp, 6 is D, 7 is E. So you get the 1-3-5. It's going to be F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. Every other note in the scale. So you get this. So it's technically it's an F sharp minor 7, but a guitarist could think of, or keyboardist could think of as playing a G in the bass and a G in the right hand for the G chord, then playing the F sharp, going down a minor second, and then playing a major chord, a step up from G to A. So you go, so you get, and you do the little, put the melody in there. Da, da, da. Go down on the bass. Play the A major above the F sharp, B. So you get one chord, then you get the 2, 5, 1 in E minor, and then he walks down the E minor to the E minor 7, to the C major chord, to the D major chord, to the G chord. Walks down the bass to E F sharp, E minor, A, which the A major is a interesting chord which we'll talk about when we get to the synchronization of the melody with the chords, and then back to G. C to G. So it's E minor, A to C to G, and a C to a G is a soft cadence known as a plagal cadence. A perfect cadence would be D to G. And a plagal cadence would be C to G. So anyway, you got the chord changes. G, F sharp minor 7, B 7, E minor 7, E minor, E minor 7, C, D, G. A, C. So there's the verse. Now the chorus. The chorus, he goes right into that 2, 5, 1 of E minor. So I'll tell you what that is. That's 2, 5, 1 to E minor, F sharp minor 7 to B 7 to E minor, just like before, the 2, 5, 1. So it's 2, 5, 1, and it goes to D, E minor, D, C, which if you think about it is he's going E minor, D, C, which is down the scale, 6, 5, 4, 5, 1. So once again, 2, 5. It's too high, see? That's why he moved it down to F, is that chorus was a little sharp. I mean, a little bit bright for that sad of a song, somber of a song. And then there's the two parts. It's an A, B form. So the whole progression of the verse and the chorus back to back. Ready? Sorry, I have to sing it. I can't sing. Then the chorus. It's the exact same thing, repeat it. This is really up there for this song. Okay, there you go. There's the chords. Now I'm going to do the melody. So, if you go, this is the G chord, and he's singing an A. Scrambled eggs. That was his original line, by the way. Before he came up with yesterday, he had scrambled eggs. That's what he said in an interview. So, if you think about the note A in its relationship to G, if you go G, A is the 2, G, A. But usually when you talk about a melody, you don't talk about the 2 of the scale, you talk about the 9. But I'm going to say with the 2, keep it simple. So it's going to be 0 through 7. I mean 1 through 7, won't do 8, and won't do 9 and 10 on all those things, because they're they're part of the theory, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to keep it from 1 through 7. The 7 scale degrees of G major are G, 1, A is B, G, A, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5, E is 6, F sharp is 7, and F sharp goes back to G, which is, I can't do my finger because this one's messed up, but G, and anyway, G is 8, but I'm going to call it 1 again. So I've got 2, 1, 1. So it's synchronized at the 2. Technically it's synchronized at the 9, but which is kind of different. Usually you start with the ninth. I mean, you usually start with the root, not the ninth. Anyway, so let's look at the scale degrees in G. G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5, E is 6, F sharp is 7. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. I'm going to sing an octave lower. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So you got 2, 1, 1. Now is the key of F sharp, I mean the chord of F sharp. So he plays it. So he's going. He's already got out of the key. Remember, he went to E minor, so now he's in. If you talk about the A in terms of how it relates to the F sharp is 1, G sharp, A. So this is synchronized on the 3rd. A is the 3rd. 4th, and then he goes to the B chord. So now the C sharp is a 2 or a 9th. So now you have a 9th. The second time you have a synchronization at the 9th, and it's only the 3rd chord of the song. So it looks like that's a trend. He's got 2 places where he's singing the 9th above the chord on the 3rd chord. So it's a trend already. And then he goes. Now he's singing this note, which is not even in the key, but it's a 3rd of the B. So it's now he's in the E melodic minor scale. Do. So it's like here's the E minor scale. But if you sing the melodic minor, you sharp the 6th and the 7th, and so it's so he's going. So anyway, this is kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to keep doing it. So you got this E minor. In the key of E minor, but the chord's F sharp. There's the 9th, 3rd, 4th, 9th. He's playing the 9th of the E minor, or the 2nd. There's the E, which is the 3rd of it. C, C, D, E. E is the 3rd. He's playing the E note. There's the 2. Oh, he's actually playing the root of the D. There's the 7th. There's the 6th. So he's all right, so now you got the F sharp minor chord with an A in it. So what is the relationship of A to F sharp minor? The F sharp is 1, G is 2. It could be a G sharp, but F sharp, G, A. So A is the 3rd, so we're on F sharp with an A. Here's the melody note. If it was regular minor, we go. He goes, which is more melodic, and that's why it's called the E melodic minor scale. E minor scale sounds like that. He does the melodic minor, it sounds like this. So what he's doing there is he's going 3, 4, and then he goes to the B chord with the C sharp. There's another 9. Then he goes to 3, then to the 4, which is like the 11th of the B's. If you think of the 11th as the same as the 4th, you got a B chord, B, C, C, D, E. So E is the 4th or the 11th. So he goes 9, 3. The major third of the B is B, D sharp. The minor third is D. So he's going. Here's the major third. He gives you the beat, that note, and he goes 11th, and then he goes E minor. Another 9. How is F sharp the 9th of E? This is the 2 of E. E, F sharp. So there's, in the very beginning of the song, there's synchronization at the 9th, the 3rd, and everything else. But so it's 9, 1, 3, 4, 9, 3, 4, and that's a 5 to a 9. Notice the F sharp functions as the 5 of the B and the 2 or 9 of the E minor. Why is that? Why is the F sharp the 5 of the B? B, C, D, E, F sharp. F sharp is the 5 of B, and it's the 2 of E. E, F sharp. So that's the concept of synchronization. You can synchronize it with the whole key, and you can always reference it relative to the key of E minor or the key of G, or the key you're in, which in this case is G major and E minor. Does the major, which by the way, G major and E minor are relatives. G major is a relative major of E minor, and E minor is a relative minor of G major. So they're relative keys, meaning they have the same sharps and flats. G major has 1 sharp, F sharp, and E minor has 1 sharp, F sharp. It's the same notes, just in different order. Starting on E is the minor, starting on G is the major. So, if you will, on the keyboard, it's all white notes except for the F is the black sharp, the sharp, F sharp, and the same thing with E minor. So, anyway, that's the it's just a chord change, no melody, and it goes 3rd. Da, da, D, D7. D, da, da. There's your 4-3 suspension. A 4 to 3. Why is C to B 4 and 3? Well, we're in the key of G now. So we got, we started off in G, went to E minor briefly, and went back to G. So when we got to the C chord, so that's like 4, 5, 1, and G. So 4, Y, C, D, G, A, B, C. C is 4, and D is 5. 4 chord, 5, 1. So the melody goes. So then it goes. Has a root, 7, 6, 5, and then he goes to the C chord, I'm sorry, the G chord, which is a C note, and the C is 4. Remember, G, A, B, C. B is 3. C to B is 4 to 3. 4/3 suspension. Just like Bach would do 4/3 suspension. Or Tommy, Pinball Wizard. 4/3. Peter Townsend. Pete Townsend's using suspensions, 4/3s up and down the neck. Four/3 suspension, been used since the earliest days of music. I can go on and on about how many times that particular 4/3 suspension was used. But anyway, Paul. Now, do you think Paul was thinking I'm playing the E melodic minor scale? Nope. He wasn't thinking I was playing a 4/3 suspension. He just was clever, musically had it, and he could hear stuff. He might have heard it from his background with his family. He had been classically, somewhat traditionally trained, and like what they call, I guess you'd call it theater music. You know, like kind of like what they call Broadway music in the U.S. I don't know what they would call it in England, but it was show tunes. Paul McCartney was exposed to show tunes, and he probably just had a great musical ear, and he heard those suspensions, he heard those ninths. He just heard the melody. He came up with simple, clever chord progression. There's another place where he uses the melodic minor. He's got it against these chords. Let's see. Okay, that's a G. He's playing a G against an E minor. An E minor and G about a third apart. E, F sharp, G. So he's playing the E chord, the G. Now he's doing the B, which is the fourth. And he's going to the A. So he's going to the A of the A, which is the A is the root of the A chord, which the C sharp is unusual. Because remember, G and E minor only have one sharp, F sharp, but here's the C sharp. Because here's what it sounds like. I believe in. If he did an A minor, which is in the key, it would sound sadder. I believe in. He did the C sharp because it was a melodic minor. He did I believe instead of. This is a brilliant, small, little, subtle thing that Paul came up with. He wasn't trained in all this stuff. He was a kid, and anyway, just had it. So when he goes, I believe in, and he goes to playable cadence C. And he's playing a G against the C. I believe in playable cadence. Yesterday. Okay, so then that was the verse. Now let's go to the chorus. The chorus starts off in the key of E minor with the 2-5-1. So you got the first note is why she to the. So that B note functions as the 4 of the F sharp minor chord, like a suspension. And then the one of the B chord, because B is 1 relative to B. So it goes. Now that's kind of like an interesting and a brilliant note choice for that minor chord, because Y B7 she, and then he goes head. And he does it again. So that's all synchronized as 4-1, and then it goes to the E minor, which is the root, and then the F sharp is the D, and the G goes to the C, which the G and the C is the 5, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So now you got the 5, back to the D. So anyway, that he does the same thing. Da, da. Da, 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 da. Another suspension. Anyway, that's pretty much it. It can be complicated. It can be simple. It was simple because Paul was so pure. He wasn't like mathematical about it like I would be. He just kind of sat down and strummed this, and he's probably just sat down and went. You heard scrambled egg, da, da, da. And it just came out, and totally impressed with it. The analysis could be very deep or very simple, and it was kind of both of those. I tried to keep it simple, but it's kind of hard to explain all those concepts without graphics. I don't have time to write graphics for everything I just showed you. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.